This is a great cheesecake for the holidays. Pumpkin spice cheesecake. Pumpkin spice is in everything right now, and this cake deserves some pumpkin spice. So let's get started. I take 2 cups of graham cracker crust crumbs, and then we're going to add to that 1/2 teaspoon of ground allspice, 1/2 teaspoon of ginger, 1/4 teaspoon of cloves, and 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg. Then we're going to add in 1/3 cup of granulated sugar and 7 tablespoons of melted butter, and then we're going to mix that all together until everything is all consistent. And once we get that done, we're going to put it into our pans. Now this recipe makes a 9-inch cheesecake or 2 7-inch cheesecakes. I'm going to make 2 7-inch cheesecakes today because I want to give one to our neighbor. So I divide the crumbs equally, the best I can, into the 2 different tins, and then I go around and with my measuring cup, I'm going to put pressure on the bottom and along the sides and just keep on working it until the edges build up along the sides of the springform pan. You can see my right thumb, if you look closely, it's moving down. It's also putting pressure on the wall that I'm building with the crumbs, and that's just to help compress everything. So when I bake it, it will stay in place. On these springform pans, I don't use any flour or oil in them. I find that I don't need to. Nothing really sticks to them when it comes to cheesecake with a graham cracker crust. And once I get that done, then and I'm all happy with it, then I'll move on to my second one and build that. But if you're building just a 9-inch, you don't have to worry about it. So this is my second one, and they are equally ready to go into the oven. I'm going to put them in the oven at 350 degrees, and I'm going to bake them both for 8 minutes. And while they're in the oven, I'm going to pay attention to what I need to build on my cheesecake. So I go to the table and start working on the cheesecake itself. This is 350 degrees and 8 minutes. For the cheesecake, I have room temperature cream cheese. It is 32 ounces of room temperature cream cheese. To that, I'm going to add 1/2 cups of granulated sugar, and I'm going to mix that together. Once I get that mixed together, I'm going to take a 1/3 cup of room temperature sour cream and add that in and mix it up well. All the ingredients are at room temperature in this recipe. Once that's mixed together well, I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of pure vanilla extract to that and mix it up. Nice and creamy. And every once in a while, you want to scrape your bowl down, because while it looks like it's all mixed up, there's areas, well, on my mix master where it misses, so scraping the bowl helps me ensure that everything is mixed up. I always find a little spot of stuff on the bottom that needs a little extra help. So once I do that, I continue on blending. I'm going to take 3 eggs and I'm going to add them at different times. I'm going to make sure one gets mixed in. These are room temperature again. Eggs have been sitting out for an hour to get up to temperature. Then I'm going to add the second egg. Once I see that the first egg has been added and mixed in well, beat the second egg, get it nice and mixed, and then lastly I'm going to add the third egg and let the mixture come together. It's all nice and cohesive, all one color. You don't want any streaks of like yellow or anything like that where the egg is not mixed in. Okay, and then we're going to clean the pan one more time, or the bowl. Make sure it's nice and all one consistent, one color, no dark streaks or light streaks from just cream cheese sticking on the sides or something like that. You know, if there are, which I found on this one, I have to mix it up one more time and get it to look nice and consistent. Then, to make the pumpkin spice, I'm going to take out 2 cups of this cream cheese mixture and put it into a separate bowl. And once I get the 2 cups into my separate bowl, I'm going to add to that 1 cup of pumpkin puree. Now the pumpkin has no other spices in it, it's just pumpkin. And then I'm going to add my pumpkin spice mix to this, which is 1.5 teaspoons of ground cinnamon, 1/2 teaspoon of allspice, ground allspice, 1/2 teaspoon of ginger again, and then 1/4 teaspoon of cloves and 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg. So it's basically the same ingredients, except for this time I've also added 1/2 teaspoons of cinnamon. I'm gonna mix that all together, and just like when I was using the power mixer, I'm going to check the sides on this and make sure it's good, and I can see that there's some light spots in the bottom of the bowl that I want to take care of, so I mix that up. And so there I had 2 different fillings now. Now the key here is to take different flavors, just cream cheese and the pumpkin spice, and put them in an alternating turn. So I like to start with we'll call it the white mix. So because it's right next to the crumbs, and you'll be able to see it better when the cake is cut. And then I'm going to start filling it with the pumpkin spice, and then I'm going to add more of the white into each one. And again, if you're just doing a 9 inches, you just do it until it's all full. Doing 7 inches, then you're going to divide it up. Hopefully you won't make a mess like I did. Once it's all filled up, I'm going to level it out a little bit. Try and get it semi-smooth, or smooth as you desire. It doesn't have to be perfect. The cooking process is going to level it out also. As you can see, I use a scale because I weigh everything. I don't want one to cook sooner than the other one, or take longer than the other one, because then it's going to just be harder for me to figure it all out. I'm take a toothpick and I'm going to swirl it around. And this will help when you serve it. You'll see the swirls a little bit more distinctively. Do it to my second one. While I'm doing this, I have a hot water teapot going to get ready to create a hot water bath. And first I'm going to, because I'm using a bath, I had to put an aluminum foil wrap around each one of these pots so the water doesn't get into the cheesecake itself. I'm using 18-inch aluminum foil here, and I fold it up until I'm happy with what it looks like. I'm protecting the sides, and I try to bring it up all the way to the edge or a little bit over, just to make sure no water gets into it. So now I'm ready to put the water into the pan. This is going to be boiling water. You want it to be boiling because of the oven temperature. It will match the oven temperature. It also helps cook it. Now the purpose of this water bath is to keep the cheesecakes flat. And now I'm going to I have them in my oven, and I'm going to put a tent over that, and that's just going to help the steam bath. I'm going to leave it in the oven for 55 minutes at 350 degrees and let it cook. And at the end of that, I'm going to take a look at it. If it's not done, I'm going to leave it in there for longer. The last 15 minutes, I'm going to take the tent out of the oven and let it cook. I used the toothpick to make sure that it was done. Once it's all done and cooled off, I'm going to start my decoration. I have some salted caramel that I made up a few days ago. I want to put on top of this. This is a great addition to the cake. Tastes wonderful. Goes great with the cream cheese and the pumpkin spice. And I'm simply taking a sandwich bag and put a cake decorator tip on it, and I'm just squeezing it out of there. No fancy bags here. And just go back and forth, and loop it around. And when I get done, I'm going to go all the way around the circle. This will help ensure that I have some caramel that will drip off to the edge, and it looks pretty when that happens. I'm going to take some ginger snaps, got these from Trader Joe's, and I'm going to add those to the top of them. First I got to crush them all up, and then I'm going to add them to the top. Around the edges, it gives it a nice little flair. Also helps that spice that you want to present as far as ginger spice. You take pumpkin spice, it all goes together. And my neighbor will appreciate it. My family's going to appreciate this, I'm sure. And there it is, the finished product, a pumpkin spice cheesecake, great for the holidays. I hope you give me a like. There's other recipes you can check out on my channel. You're going to enjoy this one. Like I said, this makes 2 7-inch ones or 1 9. So enjoy. Thank you for watching.